Sometimes it feels like the weight of the world is just settling a bit too heavily around us. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares a handful of recent stories grounded in reality, offering a clearer view beyond the usual headlines. Here, you will find moments that remind us the full picture includes quiet progress and thoughtful care, not only challenges. Today, we will explore breakthroughs in health that touch both rare disease and global crises. But first, let us begin with a story about a remarkable century-old player enjoying a simple game that opens a door to connection. In a nursing home in the Batignolles neighborhood of northwestern Paris, a 104-year-old woman named Nicole Riberols sits with volunteers across a board of letters. They are playing Scrabble, and on one bright turn she scores with the word EWE. The weekly board game meetup is simple and ordinary, but it gathers people who might have otherwise stayed in their own routines. Nicole is part of a wider effort called LL Heure Civique, founded by Athanas Perifan. The idea is to make community volunteering flexible, almost frictionless. Volunteers are invited to offer at least an hour a month, with participation that can be chosen in the way it fits real life, and then they are connected with practical needs, including seniors in care homes like Les Artistes. Perifan has said volunteering is in a kind of crisis, not because people do not care, but because time pressures and weaker ties make commitment feel heavy. Yet in this room, the weight seems to lift. After a game, there is friendly conversation, small laughter, and a sense of usefulness that does not ask for heroic effort. In 2025, millions of people in France volunteered for charitable organizations, and across about 250 municipalities, LL Heure Civique now has more than 24,000 volunteers signed up. For Nicole, usefulness looks like spelling EWE correctly week after week in the quiet company of others. There are times when hope shows up in the most ordinary ways, like a calendar date, a lunch table, and someone refusing to disappear. This is one of those stories about a promise that kept getting honored. When Dylan was 14, he was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer, and doctors told him he had 8 months to live. That number could have become the whole story, but it did not. Dr. Mary Austin urged Dylan to keep going through 52 weeks of chemotherapy, not as a vague encouragement, but as a plan with a finish line. She also promised she would attend his high school graduation, and she made room for real moments along the way. She had lunch with him. She checked in during his darkest days. Years passed, and Dylan stayed in the fight. 4 years later, Dylan walked across the stage wearing his cap and gown, cancer-free. And when the ceremony ended, there was a big surprise waiting for him, the kind that feels like the payoff of every hard day you did not think you would reach. What lingers for me is how steady support can change the shape of a countdown. Not by pretending things are easy, but by making sure you are not doing them alone. When someone keeps a promise like that, you start to believe your future is something you can actually show up for. If you have ever wondered whether a treatment can truly change the future for people living with lupus, this next story offers a careful kind of hope. Lupus can be a relentless autoimmune disease, and when it reaches the kidneys, it can become lupus nephritis, threatening organs and making daily life feel unpredictable. In the United Kingdom, researchers at University College London Hospital treated 9 people with lupus nephritis using a genetically engineered CAR T-cell therapy as part of a completed trial. 5 of the 9 patients went into a lupus remission. Among the patients who received the lower dose, 6 received treatment and 5 reached remission within about 3 months, with that remission lasting through an 11-month follow-up. 3 other patients received the higher dose and are still being monitored. One participant, Katie Tinkler, shared what it felt like before the trial, with her lungs, heart, and kidneys deteriorating. She said remission changed her life in a way she could not have imagined, including fulfilling a first-time dream of alpine skiing and dancing at her daughter's wedding. What makes this story lift your heart is not the promise of a guaranteed cure, but the real evidence that something new can move the needle for some people. It also carries an honest message. These results need confirmation in larger studies, and progress is often built one careful step at a time. When outbreaks strain a health system, the smallest protective details can make the biggest difference. This story follows one shipment that helped keep both health workers and everyday care moving forward in eastern Congo. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Ebola response has faced a harsh reality. Personal protective equipment shortages disrupted access to primary care and clinics doing their best with limited supplies. Into that gap, Direct Relief shipped more than 250,000 N95 respirators to Bunia. Along with those masks, the delivery included eye protection and protective coveralls, donated by 3M, so health workers could better protect themselves while they cared for others. The shipment did not stop at protection. It also carried essential medicines and healthcare supplies, including antibiotics, deworming treatments, diabetes and cardiovascular medications, gastrointestinal drugs, oral rehydration salts, and water purification supplies. Direct Relief shared that it has shipped more than $10 million in medicine and supplies to the country since May. Direct Relief is partnering with Village Reach and public health officials in the DRC to coordinate distribution with the Ministry of Public Health. Village Reach will also train and mobilize 600 community health workers and facilitators, connecting safer clinic care with the broader community. Hope can look practical. It can look like clean supplies, clear training, and a system that continues to serve people, even while an outbreak demands extra caution. Have you ever wondered what happens when artists are given something ordinary and steady, like enough money to breathe, plan, and keep creating? In Ireland, that question became real. In 2022, the country trialed a basic income for artists, offering a weekly stipend of $325. More than 2,000 artists took part, and then the results were studied. The government later made the scheme permanent in February, pointing to research that estimated 100 million euros in social and economic benefits. For artist Eleanor O'Donovan from Cork, the shift was personal and practical. She described moving from receptionist work to creating full-time and even being able to pay others for a film. It was not just about her own studio time, but about the ripple effect of stability into collaborations and work that otherwise would have been postponed. As supporters of the program in Ireland, Norway, and France describe it, creative work needs room to exist. Without financial footing, many artists spend their energy juggling survival instead of developing ideas. Critics do raise concerns, especially about how funding should be prioritized when housing pressures are severe, and they also note that the scheme is not universal. Those questions matter. The debate is part of taking culture seriously. Still, the hope in this story is clear. When a society invests in the people who build its stories, music, film, and art, it can strengthen everyday life, not only the art itself. As always, I have a wonderful tip for you to help your mind reset and make room for more joy in the world. Today's tip is about who you choose to follow, because the people and communities you spend time with quietly shape what feels normal in your heart. Here's the practice. Look for communities that praise effort, not just outcomes. The ones where people say, "I tried," and mean it. The ones that notice growth in small steps and celebrate showing up, learning, and trying again. When generosity is part of the culture, it does not feel like a performance. It feels like a rhythm. So pay attention to your feeds, your groups, your conversations. Are you surrounded by messages that only reward perfection? Or do you find places where kindness is steady, feedback is respectful, and helping others is ordinary? If you can, follow a few more voices that match what you want to become. Then, once you are there, participate in a simple way. Share a small win. Encourage someone who is still in the middle of the journey. Offer help before you are asked. You cannot always control what happens, but you can choose the community that trains your mind to look for progress and to give from a full place. We are at the end of this 10 Better Minutes episode, and I just want to say thank you for spending a few minutes with me. I know the world can feel loud and heavy, but what you have heard today is a quieter reminder that people still show up for one another. Kindness still gets practiced in real places, and decency is still a daily habit for lots of ordinary folks. If you want a little more of that to clear some noise from your day, follow or subscribe so you do not miss the next episode posted every day. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.